16 millennials shared their debt struggles so Gen Z can learn from them. According to a past study, about 80% of Americans are in debt. And while carrying some debt might seem normal, the consequences of making a mistake can take you by surprise. So we asked the millennial members of the our community to tell us about the debt mistake they hope Gen Zers avoid. By the way, while these are very sound strategies, you should always evaluate your own personal circumstances and needs before trying to adopt financial advice. What works for one person may not always work for another. Here's what they had to say. 1. If you start a business, have a tax accountant teach you what is expected of you from the very beginning. I started a small side hustle that had unexpected, explosive growth the second year. I successfully did my own taxes the first year and used my basic knowledge to try and prepare myself for tax season the second year. Unfortunately, I miscalculated or misunderstood what I was doing and underprepared. I'm still paying back taxes from that 1 year, 5 years later, and it could have easily been prevented had I been wise enough to seek help from the beginning. 2. Be mindful of who you trust to pay you back. I got a sob story from an ex. I felt bad and paid their debt with my emergency credit card. The relationship didn't work out, and now I am stuck paying it off. Just because it's available for you doesn't mean you should use it for others' debt. 3. I took a credit card with a $7,000 limit to college for emergencies. By the end of my 4 years, it was maxed out because emergencies quickly started to mean pizza and beer. I wish I'd never taken that card with me. It took over 10 years to pay it off because the interest rate was wild. 4. Get tips on filling out your FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. No one helped me, and I qualified for zero public assistance even though my parents were at the poverty line. Now, I'm stuck with these private loans that can't be forgiven or consolidated. 5. I wish I had taken a second to read the paperwork or made sure I understood what I was getting into when I got my student loans. Also, this may seem obvious, but bills are real. I spent so much time just hoping and wishing my student loans would go away. I wasted a lot of time and wrecked my credit. Also, I wish I had known more about credit scores and how much of an impact they can have on your life. 6. I regret waiting too long to seek real help for my credit card debt problem because of pride. I struggled for years to manage everything and tried to pay off chunks of the debt. But I would slide back into even more debt. I finally reached out to a financial counselor through a free city program. I'm in NYC. They were completely non-judgmental, helped me put together a budget, and connected me with Consolidated Credit, a legit debt relief company. It's taken about 4.5 years, but I was able to avoid bankruptcy, and this spring, I will have officially paid off about $50,000 in credit card debt. 7. I took out almost $60,000 in private student loans because I didn't qualify for any others when I went back to my dream school at age 24. I had to have a relative cosign. Then, I was diagnosed with cancer while at my dream school, had to drop out, and was left disabled and unable to work after. The lender didn't care about that, they just wanted their money. And, my relative didn't care either. I ruined their life. Student loans. They haunt you for life. Even as I'm paying them, they affect so much. Just go to community college. I wanted to go to university just to be like my friends. I only make about $3 above the new minimum wage after going to school. 8. I borrowed pretty much all of the money in my 401k, IRA when I wasn't working and had to have surgery. Big mistake. Big penalty. My retirement savings are pretty much depleted. I only recently started making enough money to rebuild it. Now I'm worried about growing older. 9. I thought my first credit card had a $900 limit. Turns out, it was a $3,000 limit. I ran it up in just 3 months. I had just moved into my first apartment and needed furniture. Then, I realized that my monthly payments weren't even covering the monthly interest. So, I just didn't pay anything toward it for 6 years. I completely ruined my credit score. 10. Don't marry or settle down with someone who is hugely irresponsible with money. Or, at least keep your money and bills separate. 4 years after getting a divorce, I am finally financially stable, have minimal debt, and have decent savings. 11. Don't treat credit cards like free money. I used my cards for everything and just didn't understand how the interest would start to pile up. Soon, my cards were maxed out, I was paying a huge amount of interest, and I was juggling payments to make ends meet. Some months I would make a payment toward my card debt but end up using my card to pay for insurance because I couldn't afford both. I was just stuck in a cycle I couldn't get out of. Having massive amounts of credit card debt really ruled my life and limited the choices I could make for myself. I have since dug my way out, but it took years and so much stress and worry and embarrassment to get to this place. 12. Don't ever cosign for someone because you think you're being nice or because you trust them. 99% of the time, they will default on payments and your credit will suffer because your name is on their loan. 13. Learn about the overdraft options on your debit card. My bank told me that if I was short money, my account would overdraft and I would be charged a fee, NBD, I thought. Except the bank doesn't tell you when you overdraft. I moved across the country thinking, gee, I sure have more money than I thought I did. I came to find out that I now owed the bank several $100s and cannot reopen an account at any bank until it's all paid off. 14. Don't get store cards. The interest rate is always higher than that of traditional credit cards. 15. Don't underestimate the importance of an emergency fund. Having savings on hand can help prevent you from going into debt. If you can, start a savings account as soon as possible for emergencies. Even $10 to $15 a month can help when an unexpected expense pops up. This can help you avoid using credit cards for emergencies, or at least help you avoid covering too much of the cost on the card. 16. And, don't write off trade schools as an inferior career, higher education path. You can go for a fraction of the tuition of a 4-year college and come out pretty much employed with a trade that likely makes you good money. Plus, there's job security. The world will always need electricians and mechanics. Not considering technical or trade school is a mistake. I think university is emphasized so much these days, but trade school jobs are equally important and fulfilling. Has debt personally affected you? Share your story in the comments below. Thank you.